This subject comes up all the time on all the forums, groups, and everything else. Hey, what tires should I buy for my bike? Well, here's the thing. It depends. It depends on how you ride, it depends on what you're doing, it depends on where you're riding, what weather you're riding, and everything else. But I wanted to kind of go through, because I have a pile of junk tires all over the shop that needs to be taken to a tire recycler. I wanted to go through some tires and things to think about with tires. So the biggest trade-off in tires in general is the rubber part of the tire is what gives you dry grip. The grooves is what will give you rain grip. So the trade-off between, let's say, this Dunlop Sportmax Q3 whatever and this Avon Sport Touring tire is all the extra grooves that help evacuate water and provide more wet grip. So there's that. So you have a little less dry grip, a little more wet grip. That's your trade-off. On this one, you have a lot more dry grip, a little less wet grip. Your call. The other thing between regular, sport tires and sport touring tires is wear. Sport tires provide more grip at the expense of wear. They wear quicker. Sport touring tires, a little less grip, last a little longer. Go away. Alright, so with that said, you're probably thinking, okay, great, let me get, I want the sportiest tire, I want a lot of grip in the dry. I want something that's like the grippiest thing I can get. Let me get some actual racing tires. Well, here's the problem. One, they're absolutely wooden until they get up to temperature. They need to be very hot for them to work. Not a very effective way to go about street riding because you'll never get them up to temperature. The other thing is they wear really, really quickly. And lastly, they can heat cycle out. So they might be new, they might still have tread, but if you've heat cycled them over and over and over, they might still be really, really solid and not grippy. Next, alright, well, I ride in torrential downpours all the time. I want to get a race rain. All the grooves, all over the place. Really good for racing when it's soaking wet. However, these are really, really soft, and if you don't cool them, they will disintegrate to pieces. Basically, like if it's not pouring rain, you will just destroy this tire in a matter of laps or minutes. So, yet another compromise. Really good rain traction, zero grip in the dry end, zero wear, zero longevity. All right. So next, a couple of other things that to look for if you're checking out a bike, if you're looking at tires that are on your bike or whatever. So the first one is this should be really familiar to anyone who's ever seen old cars, is dry rot. So inside the grooves, and apparently no matter what I do, my phone can't show this, but there's little tiny cracks inside the grooves. That is the sign of a tire that's dried out, and it is definitely trash. So look for dry rot. Next thing is on every tire there are little wear indicators. So if you look at over here, there is a little bump inside the tread. You can kind of see it right there. When the tread reaches that bump, it will look kind of like this. That was a bump inside a groove. Now it's just a flat spot on the tire. Obviously, at that point, the tire is done. But even if it's not quite done, it could still be a little sketchy to ride. If you look at this tire, it's rounded on the sides. It still has some meat down the middle, but because mostly it's spent its life going down the middle, you can see it's flat spotted. So as you transition from vertical to leaned over, there's going to be a little shimmy. It might be disconcerting. If it's bad enough, it could actually cause some stability issues. So look at the tread. And then lastly, and this gets skipped a lot, on pretty much every tire in the last 20 years, there's a little oval with the week and date of manufacture. So that 10/01 right there, that means this tire was made in the 10th week of 2001. So this tire is probably, well, it's old enough to vote, it's old enough to join the army, it's old enough to do a whole lot of things, but it's too old to be a tire. This is absolutely wooden. It would provide like no grip whatsoever. It would basically, I'm pretty sure it would cause a crash probably right away, even for what I would say a good rider riding very carefully. It just can't provide any grip. So, something to think about. Lots of good tires out there. I don't have a preference. I don't have a preference for sport touring. I don't have a preference for track tire. I don't even have a preference for street tire. All I want is for it, the style of the tire. So sport touring, cruising, whatever, dirt tires, race slicks, race reins to suit what I'm doing. And I definitely want to be on the right tire for the job. I don't want to ride dirt on slick. I don't want to ride street on track tires, etc. So, just some stuff to think about.